So now that the Sixers season is over, we've recently come across some information that the Sixers turned down an offer that the Pacers made. Now listen closely. It was Malcolm Brogdon and a first round pick for Ben Simmons, straight up. Now, it's a crazy trade, but crazy trade for who?
The 76ers right now would be crazy to deny that trade offer. I think at max, you would try to get another first rounder in there, possibly even a second rounder plus another player. I mean, at this particular point, Ben Simmons' trade value is low to Nikola Jokic's vertical at this particular point. Hear me out. What they said after the series with Ben Simmons, it was absolutely terrible. They asked Doc Rivers if Ben Simmons could be a championship level point guard. He said he doesn't know. Now they try and backtrack, moonwalk, basically saying that Ben Simmons have a bunch of trade. Now listen, I wouldn't trust a thing they say right now because everything I need to know is what they said the day of that playoffs, that playoff series being over. They right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they say Ben Simmons has the potential to be better than Magic Johnson. I'm not buying it. We know who Ben Simmons is. He's 24. Don't let these analysts and the quote unquote experts try to convince you that he's more than he is, that he has a whole bunch of potential. He is 24 years old. I'm not saying that he has no potential, but he's not going to be even a Kawhi Leonard from the three-point line. We're not even expecting him to be an elite. He's not going to be an average three-point shooter. He's not necessarily going to be probably even a mid-range shooter. Ben Simmons is who Ben Simmons is. I think the trade value for Ben Simmons is exactly that. The max you could probably get for Ben Simmons is probably a D'Angelo Russell. That's probably like the max.
I feel like you just attacked this man's entire life. Now, don't get me wrong though. I agree. You know, at 24, usually your third season in, you are who you are as a player. Yeah, you make little improvements, but something as serious as a jump shot, that's not something that you just you get a couple years down the line. Now, to answer the direct question, who is this trade crazy for? I actually think that it was crazy that the Pacers only offered that. I feel like they should have offered more if you want a guy like Ben Simmons. Now, here's why. Like I just said, a jump shot is not something easy to obtain, especially the longer you're in the league without shooting. But Ben Simmons is literally a jump shot away from being one of the best players in the league. Like, defensively, he's already a top 5 player in this league. You gotta understand, and he's one of the best playmakers in the league at 6'10", handles like a guard. I mean, we all seen it. We all see it with our eyes. The kind of player that we know Ben Simmons should be and what he could be if he gets a jump shot. That being said, I think he just needs to get with the right guys. Kawhi Leonard coming into this league, he was by no means a shooter, and to this day, I don't know this man's name or if it's a girl, but whoever worked with him in that San Antonio Spurs organization, they got him right, and now he's one of the most efficient players of all time. So you need at least an all-star back, and I gotta say, an all-star and 2 picks at least, because with his age, the way that he can literally lock up everybody, he can guard the 1 through 5. He's only 24, and I think an all-star and 2 picks is, that should be where we start the conversation. But Malcolm Brogdon, who's not an all-star, and a first-round pick from the Pacers, which isn't going to be a good pick because the Pacers are one of those mid-level teams that never do too bad but never do too good. I think that was very disrespectful. I think that was very disrespectful by the Pacers.
Now, look, when I ask who's it a bad trade for, it's because I honestly don't know. So I'm gonna remove myself from that question. But hearing both of your answers, I know Rob is saying that his trade value is in the ground, and Tyler's saying, nah, they need to give up some more. So where exactly is Ben Simmons' trade value, and what do you think the Sixers will accept for him? Being that I do agree that he is one of the better two-way players in the league if he can just score the ball a little bit better.
Potential aside, right now I think the max you can get for Ben Simmons is probably like D'Angelo Russell straight up. The reason why I said the Malcolm Brogdon trade would probably be a very good trade is because Malcolm Brogdon is due 2 more years, about $43 million more on his contract. Ben Simmons, on the other hand, you got to pay him like 4 years, $140 million. Like, what are we talking about here? I think if you can get that contract off of your books and not necessarily be scathed, not necessarily have to take any dead money like how the Pistons are paying like Blake Griffin about $70 million just not to be on the team, I think you 100% take that deal. If you yourself, your coach himself believes or is not necessarily sure that Ben Simmons could be a championship level point guard, you have to take that contract off of your books for a guy that's making 2 years about $43 million, 100%. that you have to. But again, the max you can get for him is D'Angelo Russell. I could possibly see the Warriors making a deal, potentially trading like a first rounder, probably even Andrew Wiggins, some sort of combination of that, because they don't need much more scoring. I think the defensive prowess of Ben Simmons would definitely be a very good plus for that team. Again, probably even the Portland Trailblazers, you might get CJ McCollum's off of the table. But even that, I think the 76ers might even need to sweeten the deal, probably add in the second round and probably some young player. I mean, Ben Simmons' trade value right now is in the dirt. And it's not only because he's not necessarily that good of a player, it's because of his contract. It's because of his contract. And again, one thing that I had a problem with you, Tyler, you said if he's a jump shot, you think he's a jump shot away from being an elite talent.
Absolutely.
The problem with Ben Simmons is way past the jump shot. The problem with Ben Simmons is his unwillingness to actually take the shots. Again, Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 40 in a closeout game versus the Brooklyn Nets, put 40 on Kevin Durant's head. He can't shoot to save his life. He takes 13 seconds to shoot a free throw, but he scores. He puts the ball in the basket. Ben Simmons will go quarters without taking a shot. If you put a jump shot on Ben Simmons right now, what's the guarantee that he's actually going to take the shot? There is no guarantee. There's none. So trade value, it's not that high. That's all I'm saying. It's not that high.
I get what you're saying. Like it definitely starts with mentality, because what is the difference between Giannis and Ben Simmons when you really think about it? Because Ben Simmons is more skilled than Giannis. It comes down to the mentality. How aggressive are you? But that being said, to answer Adrian's question, once upon a time we were talking about Ben Simmons for James Harden. We're obviously not that. We're not there anymore. I'll never say that. But to say that it's in the dirt, man, I don't agree with that. You actually went where I was gonna go, and that's with the Golden State Warriors. I think that's a picture perfect match with a guy like Andrew Wiggins, who's a 20-point per game scorer, somebody who's actually looking to score the ball. I think you bring him into Philadelphia, they can make that work. And then again, you put Ben Simmons in Golden State playing that Spurs basketball. You surround him with the greatest shooters in the world. Maybe he'll pick up some tips on how to shoot. He'll work with that shooting staff. Who knows? Like you always mention yourself, we don't know what kind of defender Clay is going to be coming off that ACL injury. Ben Simmons will definitely take that role as the number one defender, guarding the best player every night. There were other rumors about CJ McCollum. That's a bit of a reach, only because CJ McCollum, for right now, alongside Damian Lillard, he's only a 20-point per game scorer, but we've seen him score like 24, 25. You put CJ McCollum on a team where he's the number one option, or it just gets like a lot more looks than he does now, CJ McCollum is going to look like an all-star if he doesn't already. So, yeah, man, I wouldn't say it's quote unquote in the dirt, but it's definitely something that we have to take a few looks at before we give out trade scenarios for Ben Simmons.
So before we end this conversation, I have a question. I want us to rank Ben Simmons in, let's put him in tiers. Let's say there's 5 tiers of players in the NBA, tier 5 being the best. What tier is Ben Simmons in?
3.
Yeah,
big 3. 3.
So you guys are saying Ben Simmons is a middle of the pack type of guy
right now? Yeah. Ben Simmons on a team is a very good role player right now. That's it. If you're gonna give me 5 points in an elimination game, you are a role player. If you're telling me you're gonna provide playmaking and defensive capabilities, you are a role player. I personally believe he's probably, I wouldn't even say prime Draymond Green. He's Draymond Green on a decent night. Because prime Draymond Green is gonna go out there and give you 30 points in a game 7 of a final series. Ben Simmons is not doing that. I think, and even worse is the contract. Because I believe if you take even prime Draymond Green, no one's giving that man a 5-year, $170 million contract. No. You probably giving him 5 years, 120, 130. This man, Ben Simmons, is on a maximum deal. You have to pay him $140 million over the next like 4 years. It's difficult.
I mean, I think he's a little bit more than a role player. He is an all-star. But I also, I get what you're saying, and I definitely agree with that Draymond fact. He's up on his best night, he's maybe a prime Draymond, because even prime Draymond was pulling threes, getting his shot going. Yeah, 3, middle of the pack, that sounds about right.
So you guys heard it here first. Ben Simmons is just about as good as Al Horford in this league. Let us know in the comments down below where you guys think Ben Simmons' trade value is, and where you think he should end up going.
Stop disrespect that Big Al like that, bro. Stop.